Hi all, Loz D Punch Out TV. Hope you're well out there. Back with another episode of CRIMEWATCH UK as it's the end of the month. So I thought, see which bellends are on the board for this month for the crimes in boxing. As you know, as I always say, this is just banter. Don't take it to heart, even though some people do. But once a month, we have to address the clowns in boxing for clown behaviour at the end of the month. So we put 4 clowns up on the board and see who's the biggest twat of them all. So let's get started. In at number 1, it's none other than the man himself. First time on the board, BJS, Blowjob Saunders, or aka Billy Joe Sausage. The Billy Joe Sausage, or Blowjob Saunders, is in at number 4 this month for his outrageous behaviour last week at the Chris Eubanks and Conor Benn fight, for trying to gate crash Chris Eubanks' dressing room to test his gloves to see if they weren't jacked or anything like that. I watched an interview after this with Big Napper, Chris Eubanks' manager. Napper said that he got wind that Blowjob Saunders was going to try and come and gate crash into his changing room for check his gloves. And a few days before, Napper said that he'd seen him and told him he wasn't welcome in the dressing room. And Billy Joe Saunders was all pally-pally with him. Anyway, the fight of the night, at fight night, should I say, Blowjob Saunders decides that him and his pals are going to go and gate crash Chris Eubanks' changing room to check his gloves. Now, Chris Eubanks can't stand Billy Joe Saunders and vice versa. So he turns up there, tries to get in. Big Napper says, "You're not coming in." Then he starts a ruckus with Big Napper, saying to Napper, "Who are you? Who are you? You're a nobody. Look at your belly." And then Big Napper said to him, "Look at you. Look at your belly." "Well, I'm sorry, Blowjob Saunders. Last time I ever saw anything of you, you got your arse whooped off Canelo and quit on your stool. And then you went underground. You've made a few comments here and there, but not really taking any notice of you. And for you to say that Napper's got a big belly, look at the size of you. You look like you've been stuck in Nando's for the past 5 or 6 years and never been let out." So, Big Head Billy Joe Saunders, or Billy Joe Sausage, or Blowjob Saunders, whatever you want to call him, this clown is in at number 4 for making himself look an absolute twat, try and play gangster in front of the cameras, but like Napper said, a few days before, he was as quiet as a church mouse on Sunday. He never kept the same energy. So Billy Joe Saunders, you can fuck off and get the fuck out of here and get back to Nando's. Right, let's see who else we've got on the board for this month. Oh God, he's back. It's the whole team, but we'll cut through them one by one. In at number 3, it's none other than the man himself, the man who still walks around with crayons and a colouring book in his backpack, the big Dumbo, the big stiff, Triple Duck, aka Triple D, Daniel Dunce, the Bums. So the Bums is in at number 3. Why did I put him in? Oh yeah, that's why I put him on the board. The Bums is in at number 3 for being disrespectful to Alexander Usyk, pushing him at a press conference, which I don't think Usyk was bothered about, but to have the cheek to call him a pussy after you pushed him. Now, if it's not to my knowledge, Isn't this the guy who made you quit with a jab? This guy basically made you quit with a jab. And you have the cheek to call him a pussy. Now, someone's just texted me in one of my videos saying that they think that this could be Dubois' team making him play gangster and play pantomime villain. And I can sort of see that, because this is the guy who's got about as much charisma as a squash slug. He never says a word, that shit scared of his own shadow, won't say boo to a goose. But now, all of a sudden, he's got some kind of big problem with Alexander Usyk about this low blow, and it wasn't a low blow. And then you're pushing him and calling him a pussy. Just damn right disrespectful. Got no class. And whoever's telling Daniel to do these things, it's not making him look good. It's just making him look a fool, in my eyes, if I'm honest. So, Triple Duck, aka Daniel the Dunce the Bums, is in at number 3 for just being an absolute bellend and bellend behaviour. And I've lost all credibility for the Bums. Plus you ducked Josie Parker and still haven't told us where you've been for 27 days and who this doctor was and what this illness was. But anyway, that's a different video. So the Bums, go and sit your arse down, get your colouring book out and get your wax crayons out and get colouring in them pictures, kid. Excuse me. Right, who have we got now? Oh, first time on the board at number 2. Never seen this grub before. Don't know which rock this grub's crawled from under, but he can certainly go and crawl back under it. It's none other than Don Charles's son, the Grub, aka Boy George Fox. George Fox. This fucking hero, this absolute helmet, had the cheek to try and put it on Alexander Usyk, saying that you're a fraud and that you were hurt. He saw that you were hurt and it wasn't a low blow. Banging on about this low blow shit again. It wasn't a low blow, it was a low blow, and all this bullshit from 2 years ago. This grub, aka Boy George, then has the cheek to say to Alexander Usyk that I saw that you were hurt and you faked, excuse me, you weren't faking that it wasn't a low blow. It was a body shot. And not only that, when Usyk had had enough of this clown, this absolute wet wipe, this fucking helmet then, when Usyk says, I tell you what, we'll get 4 members of your team and 4 members of my team and we'll have it out in the centre of London, a fist fight. Just messing about. This fucking handbag takes it to heart and decides to say to Alexander Usyk, stick to boxing. Because trust me, if me and you were to go at a street fight, I'd poke your fucking eyes out, he said to Alexander Usyk. So I dived into this guy's professional record. This guy's got 4-0, 4 wins, 1 loss with no knockouts. And you have the cheek to say that you're gonna poke out Alexander Usyk's eyes. What a fucking dickhead you are. So the Grub, aka Boy George Fox, wherever you crawled your smelly little arse out of, go and crawl your smelly little arse back into. You're a weapon. Nobody knows you. Nobody cares about your opinion because you are irrelevant. You're a nobody. Don't care what you think. Don't care what you say. You're not a gangster. You're a prankster. So go and fuck off and get back under that fucking rock you crawled from under. You absolute dickhead. Last but not least, this fucking guy, man. This diva. This fucking absolute clown. Fucking none other than Daniel Dubois' manager. The fraudster. aka Con Charles. Con Charles is in at number 1 for still crying, and I mean crying, absolutely crying, at a press conference and having a meltdown, saying to Alexander Usyk, "You're a fraud, you're a cheat, you're a liar." That wasn't a low blow, it was a body shot what dropped you. Still banging the drum 2 years later about this body shot just because your man got beat. Listen, Don Charles, or should I say Con Charles, your man got beat fair and square. The referee deemed it as a low blow. What the ref says and what you say are two different things. If the ref says it's a low blow, it's a low blow, right? And that's why your appeal got turned down by the WBA, because you put in an appeal to the WBA and they turned you down. And that Hatman did a video on that, talking about it. So this big mardarse, this big fucking diva, this camera whore, Con Charles, has a meltdown at the press conference saying to Alexander Usyk, "You might be a strong person, but you're not as strong as me. I can outwit you," and all this fucking jibber jabber what he was banging on about. Con Charles is an emotional wreck. He's an emotional whore. He just can't let things go. Listen, Con Charles, like I said before, where was your fighter for 27 days? Where was this doctor? Who was this doctor? Where was this doctor's statements, what you said you had? Why have you never named this doctor? In the interview on Box Nation, you said you were going to get to the bottom of this illness, because apparently it's happened 4 times to him whilst he's been in training camps. Well, 2 months later, what was the illness? You still haven't come out and said it. So if you've got the cheek to call Alexander Usyk a fraud, a cheat and a liar, take a look in the mirror, pal. Because to me, there's only one fraud here, and that's you and your fucking team. You're an absolute fucking helmet, Con Charles. You've gone from hero to villain literally in 0 seconds. How you got manager of the year? Wow, just because your fighter had 3 good wins. You're not no top trainer, Con Charles. You're that shit that Florian Marku fucked you off, and after a few months, and so did fucking Derek Chisora. And I quote, you said you'd never work with Derek again. You ended up working with him 4 times. So, Con Charles, the arsewipe, the knicker sniffer, this emotional, and I mean emotional whore, is in at number 1 for being the biggest bell end of the month, crying his little eyes out about this low blow and not a low blow business after 2 years just because his fighter got whooped. And what you lot don't know, all this abuse that you've given Alexander Usyk this week will all come back to haunt you, trust me. He'll be then known as, well, people already call him Triple Knee, but he will be known as Triple Knee when he quits again on his knees off a jab. So they're the 4 twats of the month. Hope you enjoyed it. Con Charles is the number 1 bell end of the month. But I hope you enjoyed it. Peace out, and I'll catch you on the next one.
You can look at me as much as you want. In fact, I'll give you a photograph of mine. You can take it home and study it. You're very mentally strong, but you met somebody who's stronger than you.